Alright, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius, and for the Sagittarius that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that you're feeling pretty good. You're ready to kind of go off on your next adventure. You're like, what's next? But there's something blocking you as you look off to the future. So that's what this reading is going to be about. Now, before I dive into the reading, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. I do offer personal readings on my website, ajstarot.com. And if this reading resonates with you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, as that helps my channel out a lot. So, Sagittarius, your overall energy is the Six of Wands. A lot of confidence, feeling good, feeling great, actually, is sort of what I'm getting. At least that's what you're putting out into the world, is this energy of confidence. When I clarified the Six of Wands, we got the Two of Wands, the Magician, and the Queen of Cups. So you're saying, I'm ready for love, I'm ready for life, I'm ready to go out and explore and manifest sort of my heart's desires. So, all good there. In the recent past, we have the Fool, the Three of Wands, the Seven of Wands. So this is where I'm seeing that you are open up to the future. You're saying, I'm looking out at the horizon, I'm ready for the next thing. However, with the Seven of Wands, there does seem to be a bit of a blockage that you come up against. In the current energy, we have the Moon, the Hermit, the Ten of Cups. You're really soul searching for what is it that would make me happy on a deep level? What is it that would make me happy and not other people? But really on a spiritual level, what is it that would fulfill me? What's the light that I'm following? There's a lot of healing there with the Hermit card. And then in the near future, we have the World card, the Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords. So there's something that you might think you've finished, a cycle that's closed, maybe something you were working on, something you were invested in. You're like, that's done. But I'm seeing that it's not completely done. You could be telling yourself that it's done because you're ready for the next thing, but there's actually more that needs to be looked into within whatever this chapter is that you're trying to close. So let's dive in, Sagittarius, and let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the Fool, the Nine of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Nine of Wands. Again, you're showing me, yeah, everything's good. I'm great. I'm feeling happy. I'm ready to go. I have everything I need. But just don't look at that one little thing behind the curtain. You're kind of guarded when it comes to something. And it almost comes off as like when a small child is hiding a mess that they made and they stand right in front of it and they're like, nothing to see here. It's like, I think there is something to see there if you just step aside for a second, but you're like, no, nothing to see here, nothing to see here at all. You're also showing me that you could be a little bit tired from some things you've been through, and that is where that guardedness comes in with the Nine of Wands. Let's take a look at the Three of Wands. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands. You're just looking out to the next thing, but it comes from a place of feeling like you don't have enough with that Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. Or like, how can I get more? How can I achieve more? How can I go after more? But it's covering up this feeling of like not being enough or not having enough. There's some type of lack sort of mentality that's going on there. And again, underneath that Nine of Wands, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, there's something that you're sort of hiding, but we'll see what it is. Let's take a look at the Seven of Wands. The Strength card, the Four of Cups, Seven of Cups in reverse, sorry, and then the Three of Swords. You are in a lot of pain, and it's right there. It might even be very obvious to you. You might have laughed when I said that because you're like, duh. But you're using all of your energy with the strength card to sort of cover it up. To, again, with that little mess, that's all the pain that's going on. You're like, nothing to see here, nothing to see here at all. And I think that this is a good time to bring in your oracle cards because we have clinging to the past, guilt, and then the burden in reverse. So Spirit is showing me that there are things from your past that are staying with you, and you might get really stuck in your head being like, is that my fault? Maybe I should have done something differently, something like that. And they're really wanting you to release that burden and release yourself of the weights of all of that stuff from your past, and specifically the way it makes you feel. Which in this deck, it's coming out with the guilt card, but that's just all of the accumulated pain from the past really having a hold on you and you not really being able to let go of that pain. And in the energy that you're showing me in this reading, you're very much showing me, no, I'm good to go. Gotta grin and bear it, gotta keep going. Lots of great things to look forward to in the future. So let's just wrap that up with a bow and head towards all of that great new stuff, Ace of Wands, which isn't inherently bad. Like, I'm glad that you're staying positive and trying to move forward. But again, you're trying to cover up what this pain is, and it might be, some of you might be stuck in the past. Others of you might just have past energies that are lingering, or feelings that have been sort of residue, they're holding over, and they need to be sort of engaged with. Whatever this is, it's so painful that it's almost like reflexive. Like, why would I look at that? Why would I want anyone to look at that? It's very, very difficult. And so your gut, your knee-jerk reaction is going to be, let's not look at that, nothing to see here. Let's just kind of keep it moving. Which I understand where that feeling comes from, but there's a reason why all of this is coming up, and it's just going to keep coming up until it gets confronted. And also, this may be something that you've been feeling for a while. You might be struggling to grapple with things that happened. And so you might not be fully ready to move forward until you take a look at all of those sort of unsavory feelings. In the current energy, we have the Moon, the Hermit, the Ten of Cups. So with the Hermit in the center of your reading, that is the energy of healing, which makes sense. That's that journey that you're on right now that this reading is really speaking to, is your healing journey. And you're kind of caught here between the Moon, which is all of those deeper feelings that kind of run the show under the surface, and then the Ten of Cups, kind of clawing your way out so that you can find happiness again. Let's take a look at the Hermits in the current energy. The Page of Wands, the Five of Cups, the Page of Pentacles. You are dealing with a lot of inner child wounds with the Page of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. That's your youngest core energy. And you're working on healing things that may have happened a long time ago, or they may have just triggered those inner child wounds. So, say for instance, you are sensitive to rejection, and that triggers your inner child. Whatever happened here in the past might have made you feel rejected, might have really deeply triggered that wounds. With the Devil at the bottom of the deck, there's something unbalanced within that energy where you might feel like you get really wrapped up in the pain of that rejection, or you don't feel like yourself, or you engage in unhealthy, toxic behaviors to try to soothe that wound. But it's like you get pulled away from yourself because you get triggered. And so you're showing me that you're looking at that and you're healing that, and that is kind of at the center of your energy these days. Let's take a look at the Moon. I just got a bit of pain in my neck, but it doesn't really feel like mine. It feels like it's sort of like the stress of all of this energy is like coming out in a kink in my neck. Let's take a look at the Moon. Six of Cups, the Hierophants, the Four of Swords. Some type of commitment, some type of soul connection, something you felt very bonded to is very important to you. It's done now, and you're saying, I don't really think about it anymore, but the energy has stayed with you, and especially the impact of this. There may have been some type of spiritual lesson or life lesson that you got from some type of connection, and it stays with you on a very deep level. Even if you don't consciously think about it, it's almost like it's there with you all the time under the surface. With the Moon card and the Four of Swords, those are both cards of sleep and nighttime. So some of you might dream about this connection, or there might be something that plays out for you on the spiritual plane that you don't feel kind of in your waking mind, but you feel it unconsciously. And it's almost like you have so many feelings attached to this, or that this brings up for you, that you push it down into your subconscious, you suppressed it, and that's why you're showing me on the surface, yeah, everything is fine, but all of your energy is going into keeping this packed way, way down. Let's look at the Ten of Cups. For the Ten of Cups, we get the the Eight of Swords, the Empress card, and the Ten of Wands. This is a pretty similar energy to one we saw in the last reading, where this is really an energy of struggling with self-love, struggling to fully put yourself first or see your truest value. And I'm seeing that Ten of Cups, it represents feeling complete emotionally within yourself. And there might be a part of you that struggles to see that without anyone else there reflecting it back to you. And especially for those of you who did feel rejected or abandoned at some point, you could have really internalized that, and it could be very, very hard for you to dig yourself out of that energy and see your worth separate from that situation. And so there's something here about your self-love and the process, the experience of self-love that feels almost impossible to access. I don't want to say it is impossible to access. It's not. It's definitely within you. But there's something there that is very difficult for you to grasp onto, which is that olive branch of just love for yourself and really stepping into that energy. It's almost like you can't see it. And again, for many of you, this might be playing out very subconsciously. You might not even realize that you are struggling with self-love. And this is sort of like the residue of what you went through in the past. In the near future, we have the World, the Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords. So this is where you're like, yeah, I'm done. I did the work. I healed. And the Seven of Swords comes in and is like, no, I don't think you did. I don't think this circle is fully closed. Let's take a look at the worlds here. Five of Swords, Two of Wands, Knight of Swords. It makes you very anxious to really look at something here. Like there's something that someone's like, hey, look over there. And you look the opposite direction and you're like, looks beautiful. And it's like, well, you're not really looking where I pointed. You're looking in a different direction. And it's almost like you'll look at anything but the elephant in the room. And it's right there. It's in your feelings. It's in your purview. It's right in your line of sight because it's within you and it's something that's coming up. And it's something that's coming up because this cycle is asking to be closed, and this is the next natural progression of the process that you're going through that would close this cycle. Is like, hey, like we just have to, do this one last thing or look at this one last detail, And you're like, nope, I don't need to look at that. I can look at anything else but that. What do you need me to do? And it's like, well, no, sorry. You need to look at this before you can move forward. Let's take a look at the Eight of Pentacles, Justice, the Hanged Man, the Knight of Wands. This is something that is going to catch up to you at one point. You can't just go continuing on acting like it didn't happen. And I don't know for sure that that's necessarily what you're doing, but there are lessons within this and truths within this that you're sort of rushing past, and you can do that for as long as you want to, but eventually something's going to stop you and you're going to see, oh, that is what I've been avoiding this whole time. Some of you might be burying yourself in work or projects or relationships, and it's like all you have to do is stop for a second and you'll see this. Let's take a look at the Seven of Swords, the Lovers, the Magician, the Queen of Wands. There is an element of destiny to this whole thing, and there's an element of like you manifesting this situation so you can learn a certain lesson from it, so you can grow on a spiritual level, and then being like, well, I don't want to, this is hard. And it's like, well, this is what you've signed up for. So it's, you can run all you want, but it's gonna kind of hit you smack in the face eventually, where you're gonna see things for what they are once and for all, and what that is you. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Wands, the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, this is kind of your higher self asking, how long is it gonna take? Like when are you going to work through what you need to work through? Because there's no one else involved. There's nothing else sort of depending on this. It's just you against you. And so it's a matter of like not fighting yourself anymore and coming to this from a place of love rather than fear of like, I can do hard things because I love myself. I can look at difficult parts of my life and know that I love myself. And it's that self-love that will carry you through. But if you're missing that self-love element, it's going to be very difficult to face different parts of yourself because you might not feel love from yourself. From the universe, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Devil. Right now, your obsession with what's next, what's new, is very imbalanced because you're not paying attention to what's already happened and what's right in front of you. And for those of you who are kind of stuck in the past, you might be like, well, what do you mean? I think about it all the time. I'm always spiraling about what happened in the past. And it's like, yeah, but are you actually engaging with it in a meaningful way, or are you just at the whim of those emotions and kind of wherever they drag you? Because eventually that's going to get so exhausting that you're going to be like, I need to be done with this once and for all and just move on to the next thing. And that's kind of where I see you going. But you're going to drag this energy into whatever is next if you don't face it and face it with love. So I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.